Okay, so you think you know the story of the three wise men. Like, you really know it. Get ready to have your mind blown.
Yeah, prepare to be surprised.
Today, we're diving deep
Deep.
into some fascinating sources that reveal like a whole other side to this Christmas classic.
Right, it's not just a children's story.
We've got ancient texts, historical figures, and even a surprising connection to Jesus's later ministry that will just completely change how you see it.
I mean, it's really remarkable how much more there is to this story
It is.
than meets the eye.
It really is. So to guide us on this journey, we have excerpts from an article called The Light of Life, The Greatest Story Never Told.
Which is such an evocative title.
It is.
I mean, it really draws you in.
It does. And we're also going to be drawing on insights from the Urantia Book, which some of you may know.
Right. For those who haven't encountered it, it's a spiritual text that claims to reveal the cosmology, history, and destiny of humanity.
Yeah, it's a pretty dense read, but it has some fascinating ideas that connect to our deep dive today.
Absolutely. And, you know, the central theme that kind of weaves through all of this is this idea of the light of life.
Oh, I like that.
It pops up throughout the story.
Yeah.
First with the Magi's quest, and then later in Jesus' own teachings.
So it's a recurring theme.
It is a recurring theme. So as we go through this, keep that phrase in mind.
Okay. Light of life. Got it.
Yeah, it's going to be our guiding light, like literally.
I love that. All right, so the article jumps right in and challenges the traditional view of the Magi as simply astrologers following a star.
Right, and this is where things start to get really interesting.
Okay.
The article suggests they were actually priests from Mesopotamia, specifically from the ancient city of Ur.
Okay, so we're talking like way back.
Oh yeah, we're going way back.
Okay.
And they weren't just stargazing. They were specifically seeking the light of life, which was prophesied to appear in the form of a baby in Bethlehem.
So instead of just reading the stars, they were on a spiritual quest for this light of life.
Yeah, exactly. And the Urantia Book adds another layer to this, saying that no one actually visited baby Jesus until these priests from Ur arrived.
Oh, wow.
Other level of connection
It is.
that you wouldn't expect.
Okay, so we have these priests, not just astrologers, seeking this light of life. But what exactly does that mean? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, you can think of the light of life as representing spiritual enlightenment,
Mm-hmm.
knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately the essence of Jesus's teachings.
Okay.
It's about that spark of understanding that illuminates the path to a deeper connection with the divine.
Okay.
And it's not just an abstract concept. It has real-world implications.
Interesting. Okay, so the light of life is this powerful force that guides the priests to Jesus. But then the article takes another turn and starts talking about the Magi's secret identity.
Yes, it focuses on one Magi in particular,
Okay.
named Gaspar,
Gaspar, okay.
and it dives into the meaning of his name,
Okay.
which is linked to the ancient Persian word gizbar, which means treasurer or bringer of gifts.
Okay, that makes sense. He was bringing gifts to the baby Jesus, but I get the feeling there's more to it.
Oh, there's always more to it.
Right.
So Gaspar's name is also connected to the Armenian translation of the title Gondophares.
Okay.
And this is where history and the Christmas story collide.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Gondophares was a real Indo-Parthian king who ruled in the 1st century CE.
Hold on. So you're saying a Magi might have actually been a powerful king? This is getting good. Do we have any evidence that this Gondophares actually existed?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Historical records, including sources like the Encyclopedia Britannica,
Big names.
confirm his existence and his rule over parts of India and Iran. He came from a powerful Parthian family, and his dynasty was known for its tolerance of different religions and cultures, which would have made him open to encountering someone like Jesus.
This is blowing my mind. It's like we're uncovering this hidden connection between the Christmas story and actual history.
It's amazing what you find when you start digging deeper.
It is. Okay, so we have this possible link between Gaspar the Magi and King Gondophares. But where does this all lead?
Well, the Urantia Book describes Jesus' travels with two Indians, Gonud and Ganud,
Okay.
28 years after his birth.
So now we're jumping ahead in the timeline.
We're jumping ahead.
Okay.
And it describes Ganud as a wealthy and influential figure, potentially even royalty representing Indian princes.
Now that's interesting because 28 years after Jesus' birth would put us right in the time frame of Gondophares I's reign. Are you suggesting there might be a connection between Ganud and the Indo-Parthian dynasty?
It's definitely a fascinating possibility, especially when you consider Gondophares' vast territory, which stretched along those famous Silk Road trade routes. facilitating cultural and religious exchange. It's not hard to imagine someone like Ganad traveling with Jesus, encountering this open-minded king.
This is incredible. So many historical threads are weaving together here. Oh, okay, I'm completely hooked. What happens next?
Well, this is where the light of life theme comes back in,
Ooh.
and things get really profound.
Okay, I'm ready for it. Lay it on me.
All right. Remember how the light of life was what guided the priests to Jesus?
Yeah.
Well, years later, Jesus uses that same term when he describes Ganad's future. He says that Ganad will carry the light of life into India, spreading his teachings far and wide.
Whoa, that's an incredible connection. It's like Jesus is passing the torch of enlightenment from the Magi to Ganid, continuing this legacy across generations and continents.
Yeah, it really highlights the enduring power of these teachings
Mm-hmm.
and the ripple effect they can have on the world. But the story doesn't end there. We've got another layer to uncover, and it comes from a text called the Acts of Thomas.
Okay.
It describes an apostle's mission to India, where he interacts with a king named Gondophares.
Wait a minute. Are we talking about the same Gondophares the Thirst, the one potentially connected to the Magi Gaspar? This is getting too good to be true.
You're catching on quickly.
Yeah.
Many historians believe it is the same Gondophares. The timelines align, and it adds another piece to this fascinating puzzle. But the Urantia Book throws us a curveball here.
Uh-oh.
It claims that the apostle in India wasn't actually Thomas, but Nathaniel.
Nathaniel. That's not a name we usually associate with missions to India. I'm curious what makes the Urantia Book think it was Nathaniel.
Well, for one thing, Nathaniel's nickname in Hebrew, signifying sincerity, was actually Tom.
Oh.
So it's possible there was some confusion or a mistranslation somewhere along the line.
So maybe that's how the Thomas connection came about. But why Nathaniel specifically? Was he known for being a great traveler or something?
The Urantia Book describes Nathaniel as incredibly compassionate and always looking after others, which actually aligns with the character of the apostle described in the Acts of Thomas.
Okay.
He's depicted as deeply caring for the people he meets in India.
So their personalities match up. But were there any other hints that Nathaniel might have been the one in India?
Yes. The Acts of Thomas mentions that the apostle arrived in India with a merchant. And guess what?
What?
The Urantia Book tells us that before he became an apostle, Nathaniel had aspirations of being a merchant himself.
That's wild. These little details that seem insignificant on their own are starting to add up to a pretty compelling case for Nathaniel. I'm sensing another one of those aha moments coming.
You're right on track.
Mhm.
The early church historian Eusebius wrote that Thomas and Bartholomew were assigned to Parthia and northwest India. And according to the Urantia Book, Bartholomew was actually Nathaniel's father.
Wait, so Nathaniel's dad was supposed to go to India, but maybe Nathaniel ended up going instead. That adds a whole other layer to this whole family connection. Did Nathaniel eventually make it back home? I mean, India to Jerusalem was not exactly a quick trip back then.
It's interesting you mention that because according to the Urantia Book, the other apostles never actually knew what became of Nathaniel.
Oh, wow.
It seems he disappeared into the vastness of India, continuing his mission quietly without any fanfare.
That's remarkable. He was dedicated to spreading Jesus' teachings, even if it meant leaving everything he knew behind. It makes you wonder about the untold stories, the individuals who carried this light of life to different corners of the world whose names we may never know.
Exactly. Nathaniel might have become a hidden figure working behind the scenes long before organized Christianity took root in India. It challenges our assumptions about how these teachings spread and who played a role in shaping the course of history.
This deep dive is already so much richer than I could have imagined. We started with a classic Christmas story, and now we're uncovering these amazing connections that span continents and decades.
And remember that thread we talked about earlier, the light of life? It's present throughout this entire narrative, connecting the Magi's initial quest with the spreading of Jesus' teachings across the East. It reminds us that the search for truth and meaning is a universal human experience that transcends time and place.
This is exactly why I love these deep dives. You never know where they'll take you. I'm ready for the final leg of this journey. What else have you uncovered? It's like we've been on this incredible archaeological dig, you know?
Yeah.
But instead of unearthing like ancient artifacts, we're unearthing these hidden layers of meaning and connection in a story that like we thought we knew.
Yeah, and it really makes you wonder how many other stories,
Right.
how many other historical figures are out there just waiting to be rediscovered,
Right.
adding new dimensions to our understanding of the past.
It's a reminder that history is never really settled.
Oh, absolutely not.
There's always more to learn, more perspectives to consider, more connections to be made.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in this case, the light of life theme acts as this connecting thread,
Hmm.
weaving together the Magi's search,
Right.
Jesus' teachings, and the individuals who carry that message forward.
It's interesting to think about how that theme plays out in our own lives. Like, we all have those moments, those
Yes,
experiences or encounters that illuminate our path, those sparks of insight that guide us forward.
absolutely. And this deep dive reminds us that those moments can come from the most unexpected places.
Right.
Maybe it's a book we read, a conversation we have, or even a story we thought we knew by heart
Mhm.
that suddenly reveals a hidden depth.
Yeah. And sometimes those light of life moments inspire us to share that newfound understanding with others,
Yes.
to pass the torch, so to speak,
Yeah.
just like Ganid and Nathaniel did.
It's about recognizing that we all have the potential to be bearers of that light, to illuminate the path for others in our own unique ways. And it's a legacy that continues to ripple through time, connecting us to those who came before us and inspiring those who will come after.
That's a powerful thought, especially during this time of
Yeah.
year. As we celebrate the birth of Jesus, it's a beautiful reminder to also celebrate the light that shines within each of us.
And to remember that the search for that light of life, that deeper meaning and understanding, is a journey we're all on together. It's a journey filled with wonder, discovery, and the potential for profound transformation.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I encourage you to explore the sources we've discussed today. Dive deeper into the story of the Magi, learn more about these fascinating historical figures, and just see what resonates with you.
And as you do, keep in mind the broader message we've uncovered. The search for truth and meaning is a universal human experience, and it's often in the most familiar stories that we find the most profound insights.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. We hope it sparked your curiosity and inspired you to continue exploring the hidden depths of history, spirituality, and your own personal light of life moments.